Y'all, it's giving 1925 and 2025 all over again. A group of white folks in Arkansas said no thanks, to washcloths, seasonings, and culture. And they built their very own whites-only utopia on top of Mayo Mountains somewhere in, I don't know. They call it a return to the land. Real corny, real coded, and real don't bring your butt around here type of segregation and a sundress energy. And if you didn't know, this is not new. All white enclaves never left. They're still here and they didn't die out. They just got better at hiding it behind big words and country music while they smile for the cameras.
What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
And I know what some of y'all are thinking. Let them have their little dry chicken community. What are they really building? Well, I'll tell you what they're building. A town with no soul food and no good music. That's not a utopia. That's a punishment.
I see more white folks worried about that white-only town than black folks. Video after video, I'm seeing, oh my God, y'all, they're being a whites-only town in Arkansas. Did y'all see they're building that white-only town? What are we going to do? Nothing. We're not going to do a damn thing. Baby, Mother Nature will take its course. Black folks ain't worried about that shit because 9 times out of 10, they don't believe in vaccination. They don't believe in doctors. They barely can cook. The children gonna have father uncles. It's gonna become a cult. They're gonna find a passage in the Bible so one person can become the full leader. And baby, we're gonna have Waco all over again. Natural selection will take its course. Let them white folks build their shit. See, the thing is, they're building their stuff out of hate. No matter what they say. When black people built their community, it was for love. It was for protection. It was so we could have something to pass down. White folks have this whole country to pass down. They said they want to preserve their culture. I don't know what kind of culture they preserve. I saw them playing a flute. Hell, even the dog is white. Let them have that shit.
So what are you really eating? Boiled chicken, dry casseroles, shepherd's pie, potato salad with cranberry and raisins in them? Are y'all bopping to Kid Rock, dancing like wet noodles? Let's face it, they're not escaping crime, they're escaping seasoning. But I can't lie, I really do want to believe they're just over there minding their own business, eating trail mix to country tunes. I really do. But whenever we hear whites only town, if you know like I do, you often don't picture a quiet little house on the prairie and border collies. So let's just start here because this is the part folks love to ignore. People like to say, just let them build their little Karen County. They're not bothering anyone. Or worst case scenario is just HOA violations for playing loud hip hop and owning a pit bull. Nothing too crazy. But history always says otherwise. Every single time we've tried to build our own business, white folks came a running without fail. Wilmington, 1898, white supremacists in Wilmington, North Carolina staged a violent coup overthrowing the city's black government. They burned the black-owned newspaper, unalived dozens, possibly hundreds of black residents, and forced elected officials to resign at gunpoint. The attackers included local elites, militias, the red shirts, all openly pushing a white supremacist agenda. And the aftermath of that, black political and economic powers was crushed. No black officials had held office in Wilmington again until 1972. The event was falsely framed as a race riot like many other incidents for decades, masking the fact that it was a premeditated coup. It became a blueprint for Jim Crow laws and black disenfranchisements across the South. White supremacists said, not on our watch, pulled up with pew-pews, unalived people, and took over. So no, they don't just stay over there. They've never just stayed over there.
It's so weird watching black people get mad at white people for starting functioning white communities. It's like, how happy we'd be to see black people start a functioning black community.
No, what's really weird is when white people try to get on this app and pretend that every time a successful black community has been started, white people didn't jump in and destroy it. Don't believe me? We have multiple examples. Let's start off with Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier looks beautiful, doesn't it? It was a wonderful black community until it got too successful. And then white people ran the black people out of their community, dammed up a river, and flooded their town. It's all right, though. Tons of white people lose their lives every single summer I don't know why I find it so funny. I do. I find it hysterical. Dumbass white people enjoy their lives on this lake, and the souls of black people take their lives. But there's more. What about Greenwood? You know, Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was incredibly successful. But then there was a claim that a black man hurt a white woman. Fucking white women. And so a whole bunch of white men came into the town and set it ablaze, killing over 300 people. It was an incredibly successful town. Until again, set ablaze by white people, because God forbid black people have a successful town. There's another one, Rosewood, Florida. There's not even a town left. White people are that weak. They were successful. They claim in their history, in white people history, that they killed 6 people. It was closer to 200. 200 people that they massacred. Anyways, what were you saying about you'd be so happy if black people created a successful black town?
Red Summer of 1919, they didn't just stay over there and wait for a problem. They made one. Elan, Arkansas, over 100 black sharecroppers were killed for daring to organize. Chicago, a teen swims into the wrong zone, 38 unalived, hundreds injured. DC, veterans returned from war and defended their block like a battlefield. Omaha, Will Brown got lynched, the courthouse burned, and a mayor nearly hanged. Apparently, white economic panic equals Klan resurgence. Even as recent as May 13, 1985, the city of Philadelphia carried out one of the most devastating acts of domestic violence in modern U.S. history, the bombing of the MOVE organization. After years of tension between MOVE and city's officials, nearly 500 police officers surrounded MOVE's row house in West Philly. MOVE's members refused to evacuate, leading to a violent standoff. Police fired over 10,000 rounds of ammunition into the house, and at 5:27 p.m., a police helicopter dropped 2 bombs made of C4 and other explosives onto the roof of the house. The resulting fire was intentionally allowed to burn, destroying 61 homes and leaving 250 people homeless. This Arkansas town ain't the first and won't be the last. Let's call the roll. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Pretty towns, snowy mountains, and secret racism. Used to be home to the Aryan nations. And get this, the retired racist cop, you know him, Mark Furman, moved there after the OJ trial. It's been a whites-only hotspot since forever, especially for retired cops. Oh, and also another fun fact, the Northern Lake firefighters burned down an old security compound of theirs as a training exercise on June 29, 2001. And fast forward to the 24th anniversary of what is now called the Aryan Inferno, June 29th of this year, we see 9 firefighters and 2 police officers get shot while responding to a brush fire up in their peaceful, non-criminal infested Mayo Mountains. Coincidence? Probably not. Next stop, Whiteyville, Tennessee. Ever heard of the Asatru Folk Assembly? Probably not, but let me break it down. They worship Norse gods. You know, Thor, Odin, all the Marvel stuff, but racist. They bought 70 acres of land to build a white-only pagan Disneyland and called it Sigrheim. So I said all of this to let you know that this Arkansas town ain't a one-time thing. It's part of a pattern.
I need y'all to understand that those people do not intend to leave us alone in their little town in Arkansas. It's recently been in the news that some chalk children in America have decided to create their own whites-only town. And when asked by a reporter, they made it seem as though that they intend to just have a town of their own and resources of their own and just live off the land, returning to the land. A land that they stole through crimes against humanity, but who's counting? Many brothers and sisters' take on this is, hey, we don't care if y'all have your own, just leave us alone in the process. I mean, every time we've tried to do that, y'all have burned our towns down. And I'm just here to tell y'all that unfortunately, they do not intend to leave us alone. In the interview with the colonizer that wants to found this whites-only town in Arkansas, they're making it seem as though they just want to live in peace. We must remember that these are people that have never known peace. They didn't know peace when they was by themselves in the ice-cold mountains of Europe, and they're not going to know peace in the middle of Arkansas. In the 70s, there was a black scholar that broke down white supremacy into an equation. The same way that E equals MC squared, white supremacy equals white power over non-white powerlessness. And so that means that white supremacy cannot live in an environment where non-white people have any form of power. Because if there's no non-white people around, who are they superior to? Nothing they have achieved has been achieved by leaving people alone. It's like if your son or daughter said they didn't want to live in the house anymore and locked themselves in their room. In order to eat, brush their teeth, or do anything, that child would have to come outside the room. And it's the same thing for them. At some point, they are going to need resources and labor, and that's when they turn to us. And if we have our own power and our own resources, then we have no reason to share with them. And that is when they destroy what we have so that we have to work with them. Don't be fooled. Just like the movie Sinners, it all starts out nice and pleasant, but they have ulterior motives.
And if I didn't know any better, I'd say that segregation ain't dead. It just rebranded itself. In 2025, a whole community can legally say that this town is for white families only. They just say it using words like private and exclusive. So if racism is still legal in certain zip codes, how was it ever truly over?
Meanwhile, back at racism headquarters, there's a group of white people that have decided to build an all-white town in Arkansas. I guess in some Ozark area of Arkansas. You know, that's nothing but... So they decided to make a white-only town. Now, I figured that they would already have white-only towns in Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? In Alabama, in Missouri, in all kinds of areas in the South. I would always think they would have all-white towns. They still have sundown towns. That's kind of all-white towns. Better get out before sundown or things aren't going to be too good for you. And the guy that's explaining it, that's the head of this whole thing, he's like, we're trying to preserve white culture. What the is white culture? That sounds like an oxymoron, white culture. He goes white American culture. First of all, that is a big fucking farce. I think, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, is you coming and murdering all the Native Americans and putting them on reservations and bringing slaves to build your country. And that's white culture, is taking and murder, deception, disrespect, denigration. That's what I think white culture is. Destroying nature, not leaving it to the Native Americans. Yeah, white American culture? No. White culture to me would be in Europe. That's what I think. So you would take that bullshit you're talking about back to Europe where the fuck you belong. I'm saying if we're really breaking this down to the basics, white American culture is nothing but fucking hatred and separatism. That's how I feel, because real American culture would be the native, the Indians who own, all of this is theirs. Arkansas, all of that, Ozark, all that shit's Native American. The guy's asking him, do you think this is like segregation? No, it's free association. They always have a deflection for bullshit, racist shit. I hope all you racist ass white people go way up in those mountains, go way up there, because I think you're originally from the fucking mountains, the Caucasus Mountains. So you all keep making white towns, but stay up in the mountains. I hope all I'm talking about specifically racist people who don't want to be around blacks, gays, or Jews, or whatever the fuck, take all of your asses, your country bumpkin asses, all the way up there. If you're going to keep this all white, I want you all to keep it 100. There better not be any taco trucks around there when you get hungry. No Caribbean food, no soul food, no Asian food, Arab food, Indian food, nothing people of color. All right, you can't have any Jewish food, no gefilte fish, no manischewitz. You can't have any of that. Remember that. Stick with your food, which is probably European, which is like what? Bangers and mash, shepherd's pie, and Wiener Schnitzel and beer. That's all you get. And you can't listen to any American music because it's all black oriented. So you can't do that. It's cheating. You can't beat on any drums. Percussion is African. You can't play the banjo. That's African. Look up your history. Don't be mad. And no black women or Asian women or Latin women, right? Because, you know, some of you like some of our women that are, you know, you get some self-hating ethnic woman and she'll go over there and fuck one of y'all, or some self-hating ethnic man, he'll go fuck one of y'all. I'm not saying that's the reason why they integrate, but nope, no sex. You got to stick with each other's pasty asses. That's it. That's it. No cheating, all right? Everybody stay on their side. You understand that? All right, see? I'm just trying to teach you how to be a good racist. So good luck on your little all-white bullshit town.
They're out here building up land like it's candy. Meanwhile, black folks were locked out of land programs like the Homestead Act, GI Bill, and farm loans. That's how wealth gets built. That's how families pass things down. We got denied at every step. They're just getting head starts on land that used to belong to us. They get to become cultured people. We get to become criminalized people. They can build a heritage town and it's seen as wholesome as apple pie. But if we build something for black folks, it's divisive or reverse racism. They can call it preserving white culture. But if we call it Black Lives Matter, suddenly we're extremists. We get banned books. They get Norse temples and nature trails. These towns aren't just isolated.
And the reason why that whites only community that they have in Arkansas and it's now going to Missouri does not surprise me, because I know about sundown towns. Yeah, they do exist. I just seen a video of a lady talking about the state of Oregon, and she just realized it's a sundown state. Not a town, but a state. Less than 2% of its population are black people. So yeah, now the rules and laws of these whites only cities or towns that they're building is that all of the women have to stay home and take care of the children in the community collectively while the men go to work. This is probably going to open the door for some weird ass shit. I promise you. I'm almost positive that they're going to have their own little rules. They're going to be marrying off girls at young ages or whatever with girls at young ages. They're going to push younger girls to be fruitful and whatnot because they don't want them to go to school. They probably won't be going to public school. They probably will have them homeschooled just so they could keep their traditional lives. And now I just wish the sundown towns would announce themselves as well. Just say it. Just admit that you're a sundown town, because it's not all right when a black person is traveling or a person of color is traveling in the wee hours of the morning or the night trying to get from point A to point Z, but they have to travel through point B, C, D, and E, but they never get there because they're at a sundown town. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really couldn't care less. And I understand the ramifications that because it's going to go to court, if the courts approve this could just pop up everywhere. But again, we have sundown towns. They already exist.
Here's the next lie. They just want to be left alone. No, they want power, and they're getting it. These towns don't just sit quietly in the woods. They vote, they organize, they get to influence the whole damn state at times. They pack school boards, city councils, and sheriff elections. And what do they vote for? Laws that hurt black folks. They block funding for our schools. They vote down affordable housings. They fight against civil rights protections. Wilmington is a perfect example of this. After the coup, they rewrote state laws to keep black people from voting for decades. So these towns don't just isolate. They influence, they control, and they spread. Even after the Voting Rights Act passed in 1965, white communities in the South didn't say, okay, cool, equal rights. No, they said, let's register more of us so we can still outvote them. It's not passive. They're really playing in our faces, but it's a chess game, and it's been going on for over 50 years. So let's say you did live next to one of these towns. Would it be safe? Even when there's no violence, there's tension. Being the only black person in a white town is like walking through life with a spotlight on your back. They're watching how you dress, how you speak, what car you drive, even smiling too big, or when your smile is not big enough, it makes them folks uncomfortable. It's exhausting. Sociologists call it the white space, but we just call it draining. And let's not forget, black truck drivers been going missing in these areas. You don't hear about it on the news, but it's happening. Just last week, one went missing, and a 21-year-old black trucker allegedly hung himself last month. These towns might look calm on the outside, but for us, it's really giving don't stop for gas here. Safety ain't just about a town's crime stats. It's how you feel when you pull into a parking lot and every head turns. If they can keep building, we deserve compensation for everything that was stolen from us. So yeah, we're going to keep beating on that cash reparation drum loudly. This really ain't just about one community in Arkansas. It's a reflection of how white supremacy still works today, quiet, sneaky, and very much alive. They want space from us, but they still want to be close enough to steal from us. They want peace, but they never left us in peace. They want tradition, but only when they get to control the narrative. So, you know what? Just let them build their little Mayo Meadows. Just know we're watching, we're documenting, and calling it what it is. Because we've seen these stories before, and this time, we're not going to stay quiet about it. So this has been the Culture Debrief. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I talk about Black news all the time, so just stick around and support.